Good afternoon, everybody. I just want to get back on track here, talking about, actually we're going to talk about the angel Gabriel meeting with the Virgin Mary. So we're going to walk into that. We talked last week about how God had to be born of a virgin, and that is like a undeniable or non-negotiable truth. There's every truth in the Bible is non-negotiable, but one of the attacks is on the Virgin Mary, that that she really wasn't a virgin, or that that didn't really happen, or whatever you want to attack it on. But the virgin birth is recorded in Luke. I mean, it's recorded in other places, but it's recorded. The version I like it, Luke explains it out really well. In Luke 1:26, it says, "Now in the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent by God to a city of Galilee named Nazareth, to a virgin betrothed to a man whose name was Joseph, of the house of David. The virgin's name was Mary." And Gabriel was sent, and we'll get into a little more, but I just kind of want you to get I really just wanted to get you thinking about the virgin birth, and that how important and non-negotiable that truth is, that God had to come as a man. God, we look at the Old Testament, and you see we've talked about where Satan was not mentioned for the whole, pretty much. I mean, very, very rarely do we see any mention of Satan, because God really didn't have an answer for him. Sure, he could have just rained fire down and destroyed all the earth, but he didn't destroy everything. That was not his plan. His plan, we saw in Genesis 3, that it said that your seed, her seed will bruise your head, but your seed will bruise his heel. I mean, that was the prophetic answer to the fall. And so what we see is, over the course of those 2,000 years, we see God preparing man for his coming. And Jesus, and in order to have that sacrifice, it had to be pure, and it had to be a spotless lamb. And John, we'll see that John the Baptist announced it. Really announced his death sentence, but he announced him. He announced Jesus when he saw him. But I want to stay on track with the virgin announcement when Gabriel came, and I don't understand that Jesus is the Son of God, and he's 100% God and 100% man. So he was the Son of Man, he was the Son of God, he was called both. But Jesus had to be born of a woman. And for someone, I mean, I am just in awe of the Virgin Mary accepting that, and it's a teenager. And it was of the line of David, and that was another prophecy, that it would come from the lineage of David, that his kingdom should never cease. So it came from King David. The Virgin Mary accepted, and we'll see that in later teachings, but it is incredible that they said, King David was a teenager when he was anointed. I believe that's pretty accurate. But he was young, and he was he was also, I think, a teenager. I mean, the giant, was upset when they brought a little kid out to kill him, or to fight him. He didn't think he was going to get killed. But David was a teenager, and I'm just going to say it, I wasn't there. And Mary, they've told that she was a young woman, teenager, probably when she was betrothed. So to just think about the teenagers. I mean, I've reared, I guess, 4 in my house, and have been around multiple other teenagers. And to think that kind of responsibility, to have the child of God as your son, is incredible to me. And I just wanted you to think about, I just want to get you thinking about, Gabriel's coming to her, and she's about to be told what's going to happen. So I really, and it's so important that you understand, and on the previous teaching you can go back and listen, but because I try to get this in 5 to 6, 7 minutes, I try to make this quick, but it's hard to develop a whole point. But Jesus had to come outside of Adam's bloodline. And if he came the same way that you and I came, then we'd have the same issues that you and I have. It had to be, in order to be the Son of God. Now, God created Adam and Eve, but they were not the sons and daughters. I mean, Jesus is the Son of God. And that is such an important and vital truth, and he has God's blood running through his veins. So it is, in order to have that sacrifice, and the perfect sacrifice, and you've heard the teachings, I'm sure, or the songs, how there's power in the blood. I mean, it is unbelievable how much power is in that blood just rushing through his body, and it's just, I mean, you can't even hardly explain it. But I just want to set the stage that we've got to have the virgin birth. You got to kind of, and I want you to think about it and ponder it. But it is non-negotiable, and this was the Son of God, and it was Mary's child, and he came to earth as a human being. And those things are very important when we get into the discussion of how God gave dominion over the earth to man, and how they lost it, and how Jesus got that back. So all of those things, we're really just setting the table. I just really wanted to get you thinking about all of this stuff. Again, for the quick little 5 minutes, it's hard to set the whole thing, but I just really, my goal is to get you to in the book, and to get you reading the Bible for yourself, and kind of digging it out and thinking about it too. So that's enough for right now. I'll talk at you again tomorrow, and I want to thank you for stopping in and listening. And if you like this, like and share it, subscribe wherever you're seeing it. This social media thing, I'm trying to get a handle on it, and I told you I wasn't going to count down how many days I've been doing this, but we're getting close to my 30-day goal. And so I just want to thank you for looking at it, and I want to thank you for listening. But we're going to bust through that 30-day goal. That was just to make me get to where I'm at right now. And so thanks again. If you know somebody that this might help, share it. Whatever you do on the Facebook thing, tag, or on YouTube, just subscribe. And anyway, all of that said, thanks again for stopping in, and I'll see you tomorrow.